Okay, for another use of MFD technology, multifunction display technology, is for the flight management system itself, FMS. This interface with the navigation system and is intended to reduce workload, compile complicated lateral and vertical profiles, and supply data for the electronic flight guidance system. Alright, the purpose that this FMS interface actually to reduce the workload, right, to compile the complicated data lateral from in vertical profile and supply data for the electronic flight guidance system. In general, this system optimizes operating efficiency with a primary aim of reducing fuel costs. Guidelines and design guidelines. Alright, numerous guidelines and standard relating to the basic design of a number of unifunction displays needed for the design operation and evaluation of the multifunction display in cockpit, especially to promote safety and principles and enhance flight crew performance. Right, design guideline is a set of recommendation on how to apply design principle to provide a positive user experience. Right, so this design guideline is useful for the user to apply the design principle before they start doing their design concept. The designer use such guidelines to judge how to adopt principle, institutiveness, learnability, efficiency, and consistency, so that they can create compelling designs and meet and exceed users' need. The purpose of the guideline. One, you need to display the display guideline. That is simply a tool that might be used in particular stage of the design process. So this type of guidelines are purposely general to allow the designer to develop his or her own designs rule from these vague recommendations. Third, the design rule should be the joint responsibility of system analysts assessing design requirement, software designers assessing feasibility, their managers, and potential end users. Alright. How they report the organization guidelines. Okay, first section, the general guideline. Right, the general guideline is used to describe general design objectives, right, guidelines and recommendations. And from these general guidelines, deletion, exception, modification, and expansion will take place to create more specific guidelines. Right, for the second section, it's supposedly describe the design process recommended for the designers of any display to arrive at their own guidelines or answers for the specific display. Alright, so the pre-existing guidelines are used during various steps of this recommended process. Alright, for the first section, it's a general guideline. Okay, supposedly you have a objective, guidelines, and recommendation. Alright, and from here there will have a deletion, exception, modification, and expansion that take place from the specific general guidelines. Right, so second section, supposedly the recommended the design process recommended for the designer, supposedly will be used for the next step of the recommended process. For the third section, right, the third section, it's supposed to discuss many of the display design issue and research and results associated with them. Okay, supposedly at this third section, alright, you may discuss the design issue, the upcoming issue. Usually when we do something, when we discuss, after that it will come out an issue. Alright, when you are brainstorm any idea and you collect all the information, and there will come out with an issue, and supposedly this is reported at the third section on the organization guidelines. Alright, for the fourth section, it provides sample of existing standards and guidelines for human factor issue in display design from DOD, FAA, NRC, SE, and other sources. Okay, human factor in these abilities, as we can see, it's just not applying checklists and guidelines. To be sure, human factor people develop and use checklists and guidelines. However, such acts are only part of the work of human factor. There is not a checklist or guideline in existing today that, if it were applied blindly, will ensure a good human factors product. Thirds of consideration of specific application and educated opinions are things that cannot be captured by a checklist or guideline, but are all important in designing for human use. Maknanya sometimes kadang in our human factor in life, sometimes these guideline and checklists are important, but basically it is depending on the designing that human use based on the design guideline itself. Alright, topic 2.4, which is a type of displays and guidance in color coding in display. This is presenting by group number 4, and the notes content in group number 4 presenting are quite interesting and correct, right? So basically the notes is from this group, and as you all see, this topic cover how the color coding are used in display. Alright, for hazard or anything else in our life, there was a color coding. Okay, how is the guidance that we will use to configure this color coding? So whenever color is used on a display, it should be used redundantly with another means of coding information. Right? This means that there should be some indication other than color about the information that color is to convey. This means that there should be some indication. Right? Okay. Maps concept are similar with color coding in display. Chemical need to store according to hazard class in all chemical storage area. This color is very important of communicating hazards to worker. Alright, so sometimes worker just use and notice that, oh, that color is for this hazard, that color is for this hazard. Alright, the only reliable way to assure quality of color design to ensure that human factor engineering is properly integrated into the design. Alright, so this color guideline provide the human factor professionals with checklists on the important usability concern related to color. So Hashim 2018 has do some research that signs are used to assist with the communication of information about hazards at the workplace and to provide advice about responding in emergency situation. So these guidelines are designed for, what is the purpose for this guideline is, 1, to ensure consistent approach and standard of presentation for all safety and health related signs. Second, to establish which safety signs are required to meet legislative and university requirements itself. Minimum requirement that's stated by Hashim 2018. All the supervisors shall ensure that the appropriate safety sign with the required color coding are used in the appropriate workplace locations. Right? For example, a red background, the white lettering and black marking should be basic color for the following. For example, danger signs, which is warning sign, gasoline cans, and etc. Also sign identifying the fire protection equipment. Okay, stop bars button or switch for emergency shut off or equipment that will be used red background with white lettering. So yellow usually used as the basic color for designating the caution. Alright, please caution. Usually it was a yellow background. Also the physical hazard, for example machine guards. Alright, okay, usually at the machine guards, usually they use the yellow sign background. Alright, the sign design requirement for mandatory action. Usually the sign have a geometric shape for circle. Alright, the safety color signal blue, contrast color dia white. Okay, graphical symbol letter color signal white. Right, so supplementary information usually it was in geometric shape rectangular. The signal is blue, the contrast color signal white, also the graphical symbol letter color is white. Right, safe condition, it means safe. Okay, safe, the sign shape usually square. Alright, the safety color signal the green, contrast color the white. Alright, so the supplementary information, geometric shape within the square. Right, the safety color none, the contrast color usually supposedly white. Right, the graphical also white. Right, the warning supposedly the sign geometric shape equilateral triangle with the radius outer corners. Alright, there is the radius outer corners. Okay, the signal safety color is signal, the safety color signal is yellow, the contrast color signal black. Okay, the graphical symbol letter color black. Supplementary information, geometric shape supposedly rectangular. Okay, the safety color signal yellow, contrast color none, the graphical symbol letter color is black. If any prohibition, the sign supposedly geometric shape is circle with diagonal bar. Right, safety color signal red, contrast color white. Supplementary information, geometric shape is rectangular, safety color signal red. Okay, fire safety also the shape is square, safety color must be red, contrast color white. Right, the supplementary information also within the square shape. Right, safety color is none, contrast color supposedly white. Okay, the graphical symbol and wording, the example of graphical symbol and wording can refer through this link.